In the Gulf of America, Tropical Storm Bertha could not get it together last week. The storm battled strong wind shear despite above average water temperatures. So the question this hurricane season, what's going to win out? The record warm ocean temperatures that fuel tropical systems, or will it be El Nino that triggers intense wind shear, keeping the basin locked down? So let's go to the experts and bring in our panel for today. Louisiana state climatologist Jay Grymes and professor of meteorology at Florida State University, Mark Bourassa. Both of you, thank you so much for joining us. So, Jay, we'll start with you. What do you think? Do you think the warm ocean water or wind shear will ultimately win out this season?
Well, morning, Melanie. I think in the overall, warm waters are going to almost counterbalance the issue with regard to shear and El Nino. Yeah, numbers might be down just a little bit for the season as a whole, but El Nino is certainly not going to lock down the season and keep us quiet through November. Now, as you well know, here in the Gulf of Mexico, water temperatures are typically warm enough year-round to almost support a storm. We have seen shear at play, both with Bertha and with Arthur, but that shear we saw with those two storms, I don't really think that was really related to El Nino. I think that was just a fairly typical pattern early in the season around the Gulf.
I think that's a good point. And Mark, what are your thoughts? I mean, you just heard Jay mention the basin not likely to be locked down. What do you think? Do you agree?
I do agree. The factors that keep storms growing are still there. It's just that recently we've had that huge high pressure system, which is contributing to the higher shear and the steering towards Texas and Mexico.
So then let's go back to what happened last week. And I'm curious how you were watching Bertha evolve. And it struggled to organize, right? Despite moving over the very warm waters. I mean, it was lopsided and it was messy. So, Jay, what do you think ultimately led to its demise or not fully strengthening?
Well, I think as Mark just mentioned, in this case, it was high pressure over the United States that didn't allow, fortunately for Louisiana, didn't allow the system to become vertically stacked. So the convection was displaced to the southwest throughout the course of the storm. And that was great news for Louisiana because had it been stacked, Louisiana probably would have been looking at a hurricane at landfall. Now, on the other hand, when we go back to Arthur, the shear actually benefited Texas and hurt Louisiana. Most of the energy was related to storm clusters to the east of Arthur. And in fact, Louisiana experienced its all-time record 12-hour and 24-hour rainfall from a storm that was 150, 160 miles off to its west.
Which is incredible, right? Mark, we'll go back to you. What do you think will be other atmospheric factors that could shape the rest of this hurricane season?
Usually it's the number of tropical waves coming off of Africa, their timing, there's things like fronts that can move down and trigger a storm. In this case, we don't see as much of that right now, and the higher stability tends to suppress these growing into stronger storms. The other factor that gets interesting is the track of the storms along the coast, because that leads to higher storm surge as well.
That's a good point. And now this one for both of you, as we're expected to develop a strong El Nino, that's likely by the fall, so just after the climatological peak of the Atlantic hurricane season, potentially one of the strongest El Ninos on record. So how do you think this is going to impact the rest of the hurricane season, but then also months after, specifically heading through winter and beyond?
Mark, take a crack at that first.
All right. Any La Nina tends to suppress storms in the Atlantic. That means we get more in the Eastern Pacific. We tend to, if one goes up, the other goes down. In these extremes, we're always nervous about whether the behavior will be typical of a normal El Nino. It may be so different that it doesn't act the way we think it will, although at this time it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, and Jay, how about you?
Well, I think for Louisiana, fortunately for us, this added wind shear will probably end the season early in the Gulf of Mexico. That's the good news. The maybe not so good news is after October and into November and December, El Nino tends to make the Gulf rim and that goes from Brownsville all the way around to the Keys, tends to make that area wetter than normal for the winter. And for Louisiana, that's often a little bit of bad news because it typically means a flood threat increases during the winter months, especially for the southern half of the state.
And Jay, we'll continue talking to you because I know you specialize in communicating climate science. So when you think about the names that we've had so far this season, both Arthur and Bertha, I mean, they weren't the most beautiful storms, but named nonetheless. So do you think when it comes to some of the impacts that could potentially happen to surrounding Gulf, it's so important to name these storms, despite, you know, like Bertha, there weren't that many spas that had verified wind gusts?
Well, I can tell you that the reaction to a named storm is substantially more active than unnamed systems. And Louisiana experienced that in August of 2016, maybe one of the biggest flood events on record for some of the southern parishes. But it never got traction in the national news because it was an unnamed system. Was it tropical? Yes. Could it have earned a name? Well, who's to say? I think at least it was a tropical depression, but it never even got a number. So there is some aspect of national and regional awareness when these storms get named. So I'm a fan of the naming scheme, if that's really the question here. What it doesn't tell us is the structure of the storm. So here we've seen two systems already this season, both of them heavily sheared, oddly sheared in completely different directions, but both have left a bit of a footprint here in the Bayou State.
Yeah, Mark, did you want to add anything to that as well?
Oh, that covers it.
I'm sorry, I
Not
had
at this
someone
time.
talking in my ear while you were answering.
Sorry, not at this time. That covers it.
Oh, well, great. This has been a great conversation further, you know, about what we dealt with last week and what we could potentially expect for the rest of the season. So Jay Grymes and Mark Bourassa, thank you so much for joining us on Weather Command Weekend.